Angry guy here, and men are thriving as society collapses without them. Guys, if you're enjoying this content, please help get this channel to 100,000 subscribers in our journey to 2 million by subscribing to the channel if you already haven't, liking the video, and turning on notifications to never miss another video ever again. Now let's begin. Men are thriving as society collapses without them. Let's go ahead and jump into a comment from one of the subscribers on the channel. They said something quite interesting. He said, I bought a small one-bedroom condo when I was 22. Originally, I thought I'd live here for 5 or 6 years while I finished college. I was taking courses part-time. Got a better paying job after the degree was complete and found a partner to marry and start a family with, at which point I'd sell the condo, make a little profit off it, and put it towards a house. Well, fast forward 17 years later, I finished college, got a high-paying job, got red-pilled after a couple miserable relationships, and never plan on marrying, and still happily live in my small one-bedroom condo with no need or desire to move into a house alone. I don't need the space. I'd much rather take the $300,000 to $400,000 a decent house around here costs, leave it in the markets where it's growing to fund my early retirement, that put it then put it into a house I don't want or need that will cost me a ton of money in taxes, insurance, and maintenance. I don't have any desire to live out of a backpack, but I have even less desire to live large and own tons of stuff. Modern women don't understand the nightmare that they have opened up for themselves. They truly don't. And it's only going to get worse from here as men walk away from society and say that they're done with relationships, they're done with dating, they're done with children, and they're focusing on themselves and their own happiness. Women don't understand that a lot of men today are losing outright physical attraction to them. And there are some men in my comments that say, oh, no, that's not true, blah, blah, blah. It's just that we're tired of the nonsense. This isn't correct. There are some men, of course, there are a lot of men who are walking away because they don't want the stress, but there are also a lot of men who no longer have extraordinary amounts of physical attraction to women. And it's something that people don't want to talk about. I don't know why these guys are trying to silence me for, because there are a lot of men who have lost almost all physical attraction to women. Like, I'm not saying they can't have a physical connection with a woman, but many of these guys, outside of it coming and going here and there, they do not have heavy physical attraction to women. Some men, even in their 40s now, late 30s and 40s, have lost almost all physical attraction to women. They have no desire whatsoever. Their brains have literally shut it off. And there's so many dudes who are like, I don't know, like, you're taking this, like, the woman thing is kind of like, oh, well, then you guys must be gay. Why must they be gay? First off, there's nothing wrong with being gay, but why must they be gay? Because they're not attracted to a woman? So that means that they automatically have to be attracted to a man? That doesn't make any sense. What about asexuality? What about what about people who are not attracted to anyone? That's not possible. You see, there's a lot of simps in the manosphere, hands down. It's one thing if you're speaking for yourself, but a lot of men are afraid of the notion that some men are walking away from relationships entirely and they have no desire anymore, because a lot of men are afraid of being alone. A lot of men are afraid that, that's the end of it, because that's, we're heading towards the mouse utopia. And it's like, there's all these guys like, more women for myself, more women for me. But if all men as a whole, begin abandoning relationships and even physical intimacy are a significant amount of men, just like we saw with the Mouse Utopia, guys, even Chad and Tyrone stopped having relationships with women. Even Chad and Tyrone in the Mouse Utopia stopped reproducing. Think about that very, very carefully. There's a comment from Mayumi, our favorite physician and resident troll, and she said, the power will be different. The power will be different. And this is in response to men are losing physical attraction to women, and they are done with society. They've walked away. They've given up on society. The power will be different when men drop out. Men like my husband have the advantage, and the scary factor is a return to serfdom for Western women. There's a very important point that she's making here, and a lot of women don't comprehend it. These women, these bitter crones, have really destroyed America's future and created the situation of the have and have-nots. We will see women return to an era of darkness, and it won't be pretty. Their lives will be minuscule, and the women who chose to live a life that was built on sharing a wonderful world with men will be the ones who see happiness. My husband is special. He is charismatic, but he doesn't play upon it. His fellow ex-soldiers see him as a man who stands for them and holds the line for them. My husband was the nerd, the otaku growing up, but that can be another cover. He is still very good at traditional warrior culture passed through his ancestry. I know my husband is always observed because he can rally other men, and I know any government would be very concerned, which is why he chose security work and holds government security contracts. Unfortunately, a lot of women don't understand what is happening. They don't care because they're so entitled. And they believe that Big Daddy government will always come and bail them out. They have sold themselves to the government. They have turned against men, and they now look to the government for everything, including using the government to ostracize men and to take away our rights. But guys, they don't understand that men are their protectors and the government is not their friend. They cannot comprehend any of these notions because they are so far and so divorced from reality. They don't comprehend what happens when men walk away from society, when men walk away from relationships, when men say, yeah, I don't want to have a relationship with you anymore. I don't want to be in a relationship. I don't need you. Women don't comprehend the consequences of this because they think that the government will always come back and just take the value from men and give it to them. Let's check out this video.
Because romance was actually a historical phenomenon, it originated in the south of France in the 15th century. We know who invented it. Men invented it, more specifically, the chivalric knights of that time and place. And these men invented it for them, for men, not for women. And they invented romance in an attempt to compete with the rich and powerful men of their time for access to the best women. And this is because if a guy couldn't convince a woman that he had something special, something intangible that the king didn't have, there's no way he's getting laid. The truth about romance is that it's a strategy that lower status men have adopted in their attempt to compete successfully with higher status men for women. This is also why romance is a young man's game, because most young men don't have anything to offer women.
Now, guys, think about this very, very carefully, because it goes back to what Mayumi actually says. You know, we have a master and a servant relationship. The master is the person who has the value right off the bat. A master has the resources. So he is a provider and he is a protector. Think about this very carefully. God is our master. He is our provider and he is our protector. So we must submit to him, and he has the ultimate authority over us. Right? Now think about the notion of this very carefully. He made it so that man is the provider and the protector of women. Hence, men must have authority over the woman, but men do not have authority over women today. So, in reality, a man is a provider and protector. Men bring their value to a relationship. Women have to create their value in a relationship. The problem is that women don't comprehend this anymore because they have been handed everything in modern society. And this started occurring as a result of public assistance. When public assistance became a large thing, when it became a norm in the United States, that was the beginning of the end for us in Western society. And we can see where things ultimately ended up. We can see how it affected the African American community. And now we can see how it's affecting all communities. It is shocking to me today how many white people, how many young white women, how many young white men do not have fathers, grew up without fathers. I make all of these videos showing homeless people, a lot of homeless white people in the streets. And there is a continuous factor with these young people. They don't have fathers. How did this happen? Public assistance. The fathers have left the homes, and this is something that has been happening for decades. Single mother culture has taken over Western society as a whole. It is not a reality of things to come. It is a reality that we have lived in for decades, and many of us did not even realize it. We talk about what has happened to the African American community, but we seldom look at what has happened to America and Western society as a whole of single mother culture, because it is something that has graduated from the African American community, and it is wreaking havoc on our society entirely. And it is shocking to me how many young people, regardless of ethnicity, have grown up in single father households. And much of this is caused by divorce as well. It is insane. It is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. The man takes the master role in a relationship. The woman ultimately would take the servant role, because the master is the provider and the protector, while the servant is the person who must create value in the relationship with the master. So the servant comes to the master, and the servant says, I will serve you, okay, if you provide for me and you protect me. This is what the master does. This is what the servant does. The master has all the value in the relationship. Hence, the servant has to create value by offering services within the relationship. The master already brings his value. And this is what's crazy. Women don't understand this notion. And if men actively choose to avoid engaging in relationships with women, then they don't have anything. They lose access to all of these things. And they end up in a place where it's just going to be poverty and destitution, where their lives and everything that they have will be controlled by the government. This entitled behavior that they're currently, putting out in society, it won't fly. They won't be getting tens of thousands of dollars, even thousands of dollars a month from the government. It won't be enough to barely buy food and pay rent. They'll basically be living more or less below the poverty line, while the government is saying that they're doing wonderfully. It's the truth. And these same women, many of them will be in their arrogance saying, I don't care. They will be on social media crying their eyes out because they will have nothing. Everything they have will be gone. They will literally have nothing. Many of these people will become hoarders. 100% hoarders. Hoarding is something that unfortunately affects women significantly more than it does men. And a lot of these women will become single hoarders. And you'll see these women walking around with shopping carts because they can't carry their own bags. So it's like, I grew up in New York. You can see a bunch of these old women walking around with shopping carts to the grocery store, and like gray hair and everything, and like you're wondering like how old is this lady? And bro, she's only 43 years old, but she's basically lost her mind, and, and this is the life that she's on right now, you know and it's like they'll sit there on social media trying to flex and act like they're still like they're good, but they're not. They're crying on social media as they're talking about telling young women that they should follow them down this path. Guys, if you're enjoying this content, help get this channel to 100,000 subscribers on our journey to 2 million by subscribing to the channel if you already have it, liking the video, and turning on notifications to never miss another video ever again. Men are thriving and society collapses without them. I want to know your thoughts regarding this. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.